Welcome to another Explainer. So today we're going to unpack a mystery that honestly almost every single one of us has faced at some point. And yeah, it is incredibly frustrating. You look at your bank account at the end of the month and you just kind of stare at it wondering, wait, how did it get so low? You work hard, you try to be mindful of your spending, and yet your balance just seems to be constantly shrinking in the background. Well, today we're uncovering the exact truth behind this whole phenomenon. We're going to expose exactly what's draining your account. And I promise you, by the time we wrap up this explainer, you're going to have a perfectly clear lens to spot the leak in your very own finances. Let's get right into it.
I want you to genuinely ask yourself this right now. Seriously, think about it. Where does your money go every month? If I were sitting right across the table from you and just asked you that, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? It's a point of serious financial friction for so many of us, right? You probably have a few immediate answers just jumping to the front of your mind. You feel the stress of it, and you've probably got a few culprits you're instantly ready to point the finger at.
And usually our minds jump straight to the usual suspects. If you're like most people, you immediately blame your rent or maybe your mortgage. You blame the absolutely wild, ever-increasing cost of groceries. And of course, you blame inflation. And look, your frustration here, it is completely validated. These are massive, unavoidable expenses. They take huge chunks right out of our paychecks, and they're the loudest, most obvious targets for our financial anxiety. It's totally natural to blame the biggest numbers you see. But here's the catch. According to the data we're looking at today, for most people, these major expenses actually aren't the real problem when it comes to that constant, mysterious draining feeling.
Okay, let's dive into this, because here's where we make a really sharp pivot. The true culprit, the absolute biggest money leak affecting your bank account, is entirely invisible. It is not that one massive bill that you brace yourself for every month. No, it's actually made up of dozens and dozens of tiny decisions. Decisions that are so incredibly small, your brain literally doesn't even register them as financial events. You're just making them on autopilot. And because they're totally invisible to your active decision-making process, they just quietly siphon away your hard-earned cash without ever triggering your internal alarms.
Think about the last 7 days of your life. And I don't want you to think about your biggest purchase this week. I want you to think about the small ones. Did you buy a coffee on autopilot? Did you order takeout just because, well, you couldn't bear to look at your stove? What about that monthly subscription to the streaming service you haven't even opened since last year? Or a little convenience fee tacked onto a ticket? Maybe just an extra snack you grabbed right there at the checkout counter? When you look at these individually, none of these purchases feel expensive at all. A few bucks here, a few bucks there. But honestly, that is exactly why they are so incredibly dangerous. They do not feel like a threat to your financial stability, so you just keep saying yes.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates a huge psychological blind spot we all have. Okay, imagine losing $500 all at once, like in a single transaction. Our brains are hardwired to react strongly to that. You'd panic, you'd be checking your statements, calling your bank, you would be incredibly upset. But what if you lose $12 40 different times? Mathematically speaking, it's practically the exact same amount of money leaving your life. But psychologically, your brain barely even notices that $12 disappearing. It just slips completely under the radar, 40 separate times.
Now, I want to reassure you right here. If you're listening to this and feeling a sudden sense of dread, the problem is not that you are inherently bad with money. It's really not. The problem is that your spending is almost invisible by design. Companies know exactly how our brains work. They know we ignore those little $12 charges. And that is exactly why the corporate world has designed entire systems around weaponizing this exact psychology against you. Everything around us is structured as monthly payments just to make the cost look smaller. They push one-click purchases to remove any time for you to stop and think. They rely on automatic renewals so you completely forget you're even paying for them. They offer tiny little upgrades that just seem like pocket change. Guys, you are up against a brilliantly engineered system here.
So let's shift gears and look at how we build an actual solution. Because hey, we're not just going to sit here and talk about the problem today. We're transitioning right into an actionable, super low friction exercise that's designed to help you fix this exact leak. And the best part? We're going to do it without any guilt whatsoever. I call this the 3-purchase fix.
Here's the simple monthly process you're going to use to take back control. Step 1, just open your bank statement. Pull it up on your phone or print it out if you want. Step 2, go through and highlight every single purchase that is under $20. Once you do that, I want you to add them all together. I guarantee you the total is going to surprise you. Now, here's the absolutely crucial part of Step 3. Do not try to eliminate everything. That is simply not realistic, and honestly, trying to do that will just make you miserable. Instead, look closely at that list of small purchases and identify just 3, only 3, purchases that didn't actually make your life any better. Maybe it was a subscription you haven't used in months, or a random snack you didn't even really enjoy. Remove only those 3. Then, just repeat this exercise every single month. Saving money is not about unrealistic suffering or cutting out all the joy in your life. It's simply about bringing awareness back to the things your brain is actively ignoring.
The crucial takeaway here is captured perfectly in this incredibly powerful metaphor. Small leaks sink big ships. Think about it. You can have this massive, sturdy ship, right? A great income, a really solid budget for your rent and groceries. But if you have dozens of tiny, invisible holes beneath the waterline, that ship is going down. By using the 3 purchase fix, you are actively patching up the hull of your financial ship, month by month. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Did exploring this today make you question where your money is actually going? Have you suddenly realized that your own ship might just have a few tiny holes you've been totally ignoring? If this explainer sparked a little bit of a realization for you, make sure you subscribe. Every single week, we're going to break down one financial habit just like this one. Systems and behaviors that are quietly costing people thousands of dollars, completely out of sight. So keep paying attention to the invisible, and I'll see you in the next explainer.